On Overdrive this week, the affordable ADV from Hero that off-road enthusiasts are most excited about, the bold and beautiful Aston Martin Vanquish, and the BMW iX1 with a spacious, long wheelbase design. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Rohit Pararkar and we head into another power-packed week. We begin with the Hero Xpulse 210. Now, the Xpulse has always been the budget ADV, the go-to motorcycle for all the learners out there. But now it's been upgraded. It's got the 210cc engine from the Charisma, better suspension, better highway manners, better features as well. So how does it all come together? Let me tell you from my ride from Udaipur. The Hero Xpulse has long been the go-to ADV for the budget-conscious ADV rider. An easygoing motorcycle that doesn't mind getting dirty. But now, with more riders looking to embrace adventure riding without breaking the bank, the Xpulse 210 arrives as an answer. It isn't a radical departure. It isn't even the 400cc ADV that we're all secretly hoping for. But it is an evolution, a better Xpulse, built for Bharat, with a broader sense of purpose. The new design includes a taller-looking tank, an upswept tail section that adds some cosmopolitan appeal, and a new front end with a brace beneath the headlight. Changes to the underpinnings may not look dramatic on paper, but they add up to something substantial. The new 41mm forks up front, up from the 37mm on the previous Xpulse 200, are chunkier and now offer 210mm of travel up front and 205mm at the rear, setting a new segment benchmark. And a real benefit once you hit the trail. The front axle has grown to 15mm, adding rigidity. The longer wheelbase instantly reflects in better highway manners and better cornering stability. The Xpulse is an improved road bike as well. That said, the agility off the road has still not taken a hit. The weight has also gone up a bit, but the distribution is nearly identical to the 200. Hero engineers say that there's only a 1% increase in the weight distribution in the front and towards the top section, which is negligible. You're never going to notice that. But the Xpulse continues to remain and feel light on its feet. The suspension has been tuned to feel progressive, the idea being a plush ride at low speeds and the ability to handle serious trail hits. But in practice, the slow speed ride is slightly stiff. In fact, it can feel quite firm, especially on the pothole or the undulated tarmac surfaces that are abundant in rural India, or let's just say all of India. At the same time, I think the suspension behaves really well when you attack the ruts, the stones, the rocks, the trails. It just decimates all of that just the way an Xpulse should. So off the road, it still continues to shine. That is its natural playground. Now for the most significant upgrade, the engine. This is the same 210cc liquid-cooled motor from the Charisma XMR. And while it's only a 10cc bump over the older Xpulse, it's in a different league. Hero claims a 25 km/h higher top speed for the new 210cc engine. Now, with a little bit of help from tailwind, we saw about 140 kilometers on the speedometer, so take that to be a true speed of about 125 if I'm not wrong. And while it does feel stable, while it does get there quite easily, it starts getting quite buzzy after 110 kilometers an hour. So on the highway, it will hold 120, but you will feel a lot of vibrations in the pedals, in the foot pegs, etc., even in the handlebars. So there, it's starting to get a little buzzy, and that sensation lingers on for quite some time, even after you get off the motorcycle. But otherwise, yeah, anywhere between 100, 110, you should be able to comfortably cruise. The tires definitely deserve a mention. These Euro grips are amazing. Out of the box, excellent grip on surfaces like these. Even for some rocky, sandy terrain, they work pretty well. We didn't really have to move to proper knobbies or more off-road oriented tires. These, as you can see, are knobbies themselves. But out on tarmac, you will simply not believe that these are knobbies. That is how good the grip is. To get a better low-end drive, they have added 4 teeth to the rear sprocket. But honestly, there's only so much it can do. It definitely helps when you're on the tighter trail sections, but it can only do so much for that engine torque. This engine is still a peaky engine. It only wakes up beyond the 5000 RPM mark. So While it is definitely an improvement over the Xpulse 200, it's not night and day. And you may or may not like it depending on your riding skill and your riding style. Because you see, it's not a mountain of torque low down, which also ensures that it's not going to be too overwhelming. It will still remain unintimidating, friendly, and that, if you think, is what made the Xpulse popular in the first place. So newbies are definitely going to love the kind of low-end torque that it offers, the linearity with which the power and the torque is delivered. In terms of the gearbox, the additional cog or the sixth gear definitely helps, especially when you're on the highway. Now the gear shifts, they do feel a bit notchy, not as creamy smooth as you would expect. However, I think it works quite well, especially when you're riding off-road, so that heavy adventure boots don't end up changing gears when you don't want them to. The brake levers, both front and the rear, have a spongy feel to them, and I think it's engineered that way. The rear definitely needs a firm push to really get that braking done. And I think that has been done to ensure that the braking is not too sudden, because that is not what you want when riding off-road. And riding off-road, enduro, all the trail riding, that is still the primary intent, and it stays true to the intent. Even the braking stays true to the intent. And once you've figured out where the bite point is, it's not unnerving at all. It's quite manageable even out on the road. That spongy feel is something that you will get over very quickly. And like I said, once you figure out where that bite point is, even single finger braking is very easily possible. You can do that modulation really, really well. There are 3 ABS modes to choose from. A road mode where ABS is active on the front and the rear wheel. A trail mode where the rear ABS is off, but the front allows some slip before the ABS kicks in. And then there is ABS off, which completely turns it off on both the wheels if you're feeling heroic. Trail mode is especially handy when you need to steer the rear wheel to get a little sideways. It's not fancy tech, but it's functional, and that is what you need. And the feel from the brake levers is really good too, especially when riding off-road. Also worth mentioning is the engine braking. It's strong and dependable. Whether you're slowing down on gravel or tarmac, it feels absolutely natural and linear. And that is something a lot of you are going to like about it. The seat is now both flatter and wider than before. That ensures better comfort for both the rider as well as the pillion when you're going two up. The luggage rack, integrated one again, and this is a welcome addition. It will definitely hold a small tail bag without a problem. You can even bungee it very easily. However, the forward slanting design, I think that is a bit of a problem, because it will keep pushing the load forward when you're braking hard or when you're going through potholes, off-roading, etc. It's going to start pushing forward, maybe into your pillion's back, or just start pushing forward even if you're riding alone. So I think a flatter design would have been more functional. The ergonomics also remain unintimidating. The seat height is not a problem at all. You can see that I'm not on a perfectly flat surface. This is the kind of stuff that you will come to when you want to enjoy some vista points like these. And even for me, at 5 feet 8, getting both my feet absolutely flat on the ground, even on undulated surfaces like this, is not a problem at all. And even when you're tackling, say, uphill trails or going up some rocky trails, if you need to get that firm footing, it's absolutely easy. And the light weight of the motorcycle again helps in getting out of any tricky situation. So getting your confidence boosted because of the ergonomics and the weight is absolutely easy on the Xpulse. It's still affordable, still approachable, and now it's faster, more capable, and better suited to Indian terrain and climate. So I think it's an excellent proposition no matter which way you look at it from. It is a perfect evolution. Like I said, it is a better Xpulse than what we've already ridden. It may not be the 400cc ADV that we were hoping from Hero, but it is the right evolution for the 200 platform. The 210 is smarter, it's tougher, and it's Bharat ready, and it still is the GOAT in the segment. Time for a quick break. Go grab those refreshments, but don't go away for too long, because on the other side we have the Aston Martin Vanquish at an eye-watering price tag. It's ready to greet you, so stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Overdrive. Now, the most expensive Aston Martin that you can buy has been launched in the country at an eye-watering price of rupees 8.85 crore. And that's before you spec it up with your favorite options, colors, upholstery, etc. We were in the capital earlier this week to witness the launch of this V12 GT, and it packs in a lot of punch apart from just that engine. Take a look. This is a new Aston Martin, not just any Aston Martin, but the Vanquish, a nameplate that is probably one of the most famous in the Aston Martin lineup. A little bit of trivia, that Vanquish nameplate was born in the same year as Overdrive, and it's 2025 and it still continues to have a V12 under the hood. It's twin turbocharged for two reasons. One is emissions, of course, and two is for absolutely mad mid-range torque. Because you see, this engine is not assisted by batteries or electric motors even in 2025 and still puts out 835 PS of power and 1000 Newton meters of torque. The Vanquish may carry forward a legendary name, but this 2025 iteration is entirely new. The front end is aggressive but elegant, with a wide grille that feeds the hungry V12 and active aero elements that integrate with finesse. The LED headlamps feature Aston's signature DRLs, but they are slimmer, sharper, and more purposeful than ever. There's carbon fiber all over, from the bonnet to the side skirts and the muscular rear diffuser. It's not just for show. Every surface, every line, every vent is sculpted to improve downforce and cooling. In that sense, it even looks like a typical Aston Martin GT. In fact, there is now 80 millimeters of extra length between the front wheel and the A-pillar. So those proportions are classic Aston Martin. It rolls on 21-inch wheels, Bilstein suspension, absolutely brilliant ground clearance, and it still hugs the ground when you're really attacking those corners. The 21-inch forged wheels are wrapped in Pirelli P0 rubber, and behind them sit massive carbon ceramic brakes. They've been tuned to handle both the 1900 kilo curb weight and the explosive performance. Step inside and it's clear that it isn't just a muscle-bound brute. The cabin is pure Aston, luxurious, handcrafted, and now more connected than ever. The new infotainment system is powered by Mercedes-Benz tech, neatly integrated into a redesigned dash that blends old-school craftsmanship with modern tech. Alcantara, carbon, leather, it's all here in just the right doses. Around the back, the Vanquish gets a new light signature with LED strips. The quad exhaust and the prominent rear diffuser remind you that this isn't just a GT, it's a missile, and while the aero may look subtle, it is wind tunnel tested. 1900 kilos, like I said, 835 PS, 1000 Newton meters, and still goes. Not 200, 3.3 seconds, top speed of 345 kilometers an hour, one of the fastest series production Aston Martins. So it's got all the specs, it's got all that design, and we are raring to go out on the road. It'll take some time, however, but this thing has been launched in the country today at a price starting from 8.85 crore. So while the rest of the world move towards hybrids and electric performance, Aston Martin sticks to its guns. No electric motors, no downsizing, just a big twin-turbo V12 up front and rear-wheel drive with plenty of drama. It's time now for a quick commercial break. On the other side, we have the BMW iX1 long wheelbase for you. Hello, welcome back. You're watching Overdrive. Now, BMW has spotted the trend of long wheelbase luxury cars and made the iX1, the electric X1, longer than ever. And they've also thrown all the features and tech that they could within this price bracket. So does that mean it's the perfect balance of trend spotting and trend setting? Let's find out. Buyers are warming up to EVs a lot faster if they know that the real-world range is over 450 kilometers. Because let's face it, no one wants to add to their existing daily stress with range anxiety. When you're spending that kind of money in the luxury car space, there is an odd satisfaction in knowing your car is longer than your neighbors. This is where the long wheelbase or the LWB trend kicks in, especially among luxury car buyers in India. More rear legroom equal to more prestige. So BMW took the iX1, stretched its wheelbase by about 108 millimeters, but somewhat surprisingly left the battery pack untouched. No extra cells, no larger battery pack at all. In fact, they deleted the rear motor, gave it a front-wheel drive setup only, and somehow magically squeezed out a claimed range of 531 kilometers. Clever or lazy?
Because that would mean more development costs, more testing, and recalibrating the entire battery management system. But the downside?
Less power and less grip. You see, the standard iX1 in India had an all-wheel drive setup, which means a motor at the rear end and the motor over the front axle, making for the xDrive in BMW speak, or electric all-wheel drive. This one, however, in its LWB avatar is front-wheel driven only, or eDrive in BMW speak, very similar to the S-Drive on the standard X1, which is a front-wheel drive car. Now, the deficit here is the power. With the all-wheel drive, the standard X1 put out over 300 PS and 500 Newton meters. This one, however, only puts out 205 PS and about 250 Newton meters.
So if you are expecting gut-punching acceleration, you will be disappointed. But if you want something with more range and a premium, spacious cabin, the iX1 LWB will open its doors and say, "Be my guest." Everything that we loved about the standard iX1's cabin is here, just with more room to stretch out.
Your phone is now smart enough to be a car key. And if you think that is too mainstream, then BMW also throws in this key card, which means that you can unlock the car like you would the door of a 5-star suite. But of course, without the butler or the infinity pool, because this is, after all, a 1 Series and not a 7.
Massage seats, unfortunately, gone. Yes, the dual-motor standard iX1 pampered you with the front massage functions, but the LWB version has sacrificed them in the name of cost efficiency. What's also gone is the 360-degree camera. However, you do get a parking and a reversing assistant.
And also because this car focuses more on rear seat comfort. So while your back may not feel as refreshed, BMW hopes that you will find a lot of joy in reclining the roomier rear seats using this nylon strap. I wonder how that is premium.
With the bigger cabin, the panoramic sunroof is also significantly bigger now.
Then we talk about the space. There's 109 millimeters extra knee room, which is phenomenal. You also have plenty more leg space now, so you can nicely stretch out. Even the seat cushioning has been extended by 15 millimeters, so the under thigh support is also quite good despite the batteries in the floor.
Right away, you can feel the extra weight of the stretched body and the battery pack working against BMW's usual sporty dynamics. The standard iX1 with its dual motor setup had a near perfect weight balance, which gave it a planted feel even when pushing hard into corners.
Adaptive dampers, well, you don't get that in here. To keep the costs in check, they have gone with a fixed setup for the suspension, which out of the box provides great urban comfort. But when it comes to handling dynamics, when it comes to attacking the bends, that ultimate driving machine trend from BMW, that's not going on for the iX1 here.
That being said, the iX1 LWB still feels composed at highway speeds, and the longer wheelbase actually makes high-speed cruising more relaxed than the standard iX1. The extra stretch in the chassis also helps iron out minor road imperfections better. But throw it at a set of rough patches and the ride gets jittery, especially for the rear passengers. The extra weight and the softer suspension also means that over really bad roads, passengers will feel more movement than they might expect from a BMW.
So is it fun to drive? Well, it is. Not in the same way as a typical BMW is, but it is not shabby at all. It is much better than most other cars that you'll buy in this price bracket. Is it comfortable? Absolutely. And well, with this car, that's all that matters.
This is a car for those who want a relaxed, efficient commute and the occasional spirited Sunday drive. If you were expecting the sharp, playful dynamics of BMW's smaller SUVs of the past, the iX1 LWB's laid-back nature might take some getting used to. For those who prioritize efficiency, BMW offers a range-maximizing mode as well. This will restrict top speed to 90 km an hour, dull the throttle response, and it even tones down the air conditioning to squeeze every possible kilometer out of the battery.
In this mode, we could extract about 6.2 kilometers per kilowatt hour from the battery pack, which is actually quite good, but it does come with its restrictions, like I said. Drive it in its normal settings, however, and that number drops quite significantly. So in the range maximizing mode, you should be able to just about go past the 400 kilometer mark. But in the normal driving modes, 340 to 360 kilometers is what your real world estimate should be.
Charging, no surprises there. The battery pack is unchanged, so the charge times are identical to the standard iX1. 10 to 80% on a 30 kilowatt DC charger will take 110 minutes. The 11 kilowatt home charger will take about 6.5 hours. And this car also supports 130 kilowatt fast charging, where 10 to 80% takes about 29 minutes, assuming you can find a charger that fast.
Think about it this way, you're getting a BMW for roughly the same price as a premium EV from Hyundai or Kia without really feeling like a compromise. So as far as I'm concerned, in my books, I still maintain the iX1, even in its LWB avatar, is the best buy in the segment. That's all that we have time for on this week's show, but we promise another action-packed episode next week. So stay tuned to Overdrive. And until then, take care, ride safe, drive safe, and stay safe.